Going on, my fellow farmer brothers and sisters? Alright, so today is the day we're going to go ahead and put that front end on that 450 diesel. So stay tuned and I'll show you how it came out.
Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come.
Alright, it's quite hot out there today. Really don't want to go out and do this. I spent the whole week out in this heat and for my work from pretty much from 7 in the morning until, 7 o'clock in the afternoon. So, but I'm going to get this front end on here. So I'm going to spin this around, show you how this came out, and I think it's going to look pretty good under there. So it's all painted, ready to go. I just got to pull the tape off the spindles and off the ball socket. Bushing. Both sides came out really nice. The pivot pin actually goes in there really nice. No slop or anything. As you see in the last video, I built this area up in here with weld and then kind of recontoured this so that way this bushing actually is supported like it's supposed to be, because if not you'll just crush this down. And then I set the bushings in with JB weld just to make sure they went in, held really nice. But both sides welded at the bottoms, kind of fixed this. Ideally, if this would have been like per se a higher quality restoration, I probably would have considered cutting out these welds and trying to press this pipe out of here and pressing a new one back in. But it wasn't bad enough to really warrant that, so I didn't opt to do that. But that is an option if you want to. It's going to be a lot of work, but to cut that out and replace that. But for now, that fix worked good. Other than that, everything else in this front end came out good. I mean, shit, I only paid, I think, 250 bucks for this front end. Not bad at all. I did have to, like I said, order the ball socket cap and the actual ball socket mount. Did have to do some work to this in the front. Had to grind this down so that way the ball socket fit in here perfectly. Obviously, I got to pull the tape out of here. I haven't done any of this yet. I haven't got a chance to get anything prepped up in here. But all that is taken care of in there, so I can go ahead and pile some grease up in that bad boy and put it all back on. So yeah, she looks good. Bolster came out good, mount came out good. So alright, I'm gonna go ahead and get some things rearranged, get this tractor to the front of this garage door, and we're gonna get her jacked up, and hopefully all goes well, roll out the old and roll in the new. So stay tuned. Alright, unfortunately, I thought that I had the camera recording, but it didn't. But you guys didn't really miss much on this part. All I did was get this thing jacked up, and I know I'm going to get a lot of people with, oh my god, don't use cinder blocks, they'll crush. They're fine. I've used the blocks many times, and if you stack them correctly, they're just fine. Anyway, let's get past that. The front end, everything so far is good. The only difference is the castle nuts on this front end is the coarse thread, and then the one for the wide front is the finer thread. I think it's like the 7/8 by 14s. So I just ordered a set of castle nuts for it. The bearings actually were pretty good, except for this one inner bearing it's got a lot of play in it. So I have a feeling I'm just going to go ahead and replace the bearings in here while I got it apart. But anyway, so all I did was jack the tractor up, pull the front wheel hubs off, and get the bearings out. That's the style castle nuts that were in there. They have the lock nuts on them. But as you see, they're coarse threaded. And then the wide front, it's got the finer thread. So I went ahead and ordered them. But anyway, this is now off the blocks. This is prepped, ready to go. All I gotta do is push it under the tractor once the other one's out, and get it on. So let's go ahead and break these 4 nuts loose. Let's get this little spindle off of here, and let's get ready to mount the other one. I don't know if I'm going to need my chain fall. I went ahead and I got this thing set up just in case it makes it easier to roll that wide front under, raise it up where it needs to be. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and give it a try. Again, the gantry, shit, I picked that thing up for 150 bucks. You couldn't really beat it. I already had the trolley, and I just ordered the chain fall. I have one in the other shop, but I wanted one for this one specifically. It's a 2-ton, and this is a 2-ton gantry. I think I have 78 bucks in the chain fall, about 150 in the gantry, so well ahead of the game on this one. Be the first time using it. The only thing I noticed was a bad design. There's no relief holes in here to stop the water from coming in here and filling this thing up. So I went ahead and I drilled a couple holes out of here, and boy, that water spewed out of there. So hopefully that will relieve that now. But anyway, all right, let's go ahead and get these 4 nuts off here. Let's get this thing off, and let's get ready to get a wide front under here. This tractor hasn't been started up since I did the electronic ignition on it. I'll tell you one thing, she fires right off. Definitely makes a huge difference, especially on the diesels, by putting the electronic ignition on and the new coils to help this thing fire up. It makes a world of difference. Okay, now we're supported. Now I can go ahead and get the impact and break these loose. Alright, now keep in mind, if any of this is the first time for you guys, this is the first time for me. I haven't converted one of these over to a factory wide front yet, so I'm going to wing this and do it the way it looks like it should go. So if there's something that looks like it could have been easier, feel free to let me know. I don't really think there is any other easier way. I think this is really the only way to do it. So I do notice that you do have to turn that to get into the little cutout that's underneath there, to get your 1.1/8" wrench on there to hold the top nut as you're breaking the bottom loose. And I'm not screwing around this one. I got the 3/4 impact for this one. So if all goes well, these things should break right loose. So fingers crossed. Nice big gulp of beer. Let's get her done. All right. Let's see how it works. I don't have a lot of clearance on this back one, so let's get a second wrench to see if I can turn this. Let's have an extension for this. I don't know if I got an extension or not. Let's find out. Alright, so let's just say the back one's a little awkward with the impact. So I'm going to use my little breaker bar. Break that thing loose. Love that breaker bar. Now, I've got to spin this around. Go by the steering wheel, make it easier. There you go. Now, the fun part is going to be holding this in place by myself and trying to turn this at the same time. Alright, I gotta figure a different way here. Alright, might have an idea. Let's try the smaller impact, see if it'll fit in there. the whole entire nut. Release. Alright, I'm going to soak those down a little longer. Hang on. Alright, my friends, unfortunately, I have to say this is going to be wide front installation part 1. It started raining. I can't finish up, but I do have the front end off. Everything, as you've seen, is good. I cleaned all my mess up. I have everything ready to go, but it's fine because I apparently don't have enough 3/4 by 10 bolts. So I have to make a run to Rural King, pick up some bolts. But other than that, the front end is ready to go. So that's going to have to be part 2. I did put in, I stuck the bolster on there, put the pin through, got that all set up temporarily. So again, first time doing a wide front conversion. Well, not really a conversion because it's a factory IH front end, but putting one on. So from it looks, obviously there's 4 bolts that were in the other one. It's only 3 going in this one. It's 4.5 to center. Everything looks like it lines up good. I did tap out the pre-existing holes that were in the frame for the bolster, so that's all ready to go. Other than that, I have everything I need. So really, seems like it should be a fairly simple bolt on. I say that now, but I guess we'll find out. So anyway, make sure you hit that notification bell, subscribe, and share. And in the next video, we'll be sticking this front end back under. So anyway, thanks for watching. What's going on, my fellow farmer brothers and sisters? All right, well, let's get back on this 450. Let's try to get in between these raindrops and try to get this thing done because some of these storms are pretty hellacious. Stay tuned. All right, so I just got off work, and the thunderstorm that just came through on my way home was pretty bad. But it actually knocked the humidity down pretty good for the time being. So without having to sweat bullets, because I tell you, it was brutal out there today on my job. But anyway, we're going to try to get this front end underneath here. So I went ahead and I pushed it out. I got the 3 bolts started for the steering arm. I'll take you around and I'll show you. Got those 3 started right there. Now, in order to get those out and in, you do have to crank the steering around to that side right there and bring them through that hole. That's the only way to get those bolts out and back in. So the easiest way that I've seen to get these on is push this up like I did. We're going to push this, the steering arm with the ball joints up. We're going to get it bolted on. Once that's bolted on, we're going to lift this up and then go ahead and run the 4 bolts in. And then after that, we got to put in the bracket for the stay rod and the cap. I don't think I'm going to need any shims in this one, so I do have a shim for it. And if you haven't seen a shim, let me show you a shim. This is what the shims look like if you end up needing them. I don't think this one's going to need it. It's not a brand new socket on there, so it's not really all that tight. So I don't think I'm going to need that, but I wanted to have one just in case. Unfortunately, the bearings and all haven't shown up yet. I think by the end of the week they're supposed to show up. So unfortunately, it'll be probably a 3rd video doing that. But I did want to do a quick note of, I forgot when I sprayed this front end, I sprayed this like I did everything on the 450 gasser. And I did put the wet look hardener in this paint. So you can see how much shinier this is in that. I mean, this has been sitting under the cover and it got some dirt on it. So I mean, this will all wash up and it'll match pretty good. But you can see the difference of wet look hardener, no hardener. But it's just on the front end, which is fine. So anyway, it should look pretty good once these all washed and cleaned up. But anyway, all right, let's get this front end done before it starts pouring down raining. Okay, let the fun begin. Tell you, the pallet jack actually works really nicely for rolling this front end around. This is the one I picked up at the salvage yard. Shit, I think I only paid like 20 or 30 bucks for it. Now, I was going to use some longer bolts in here, but from what I've seen, if the bolts are too long, they'll hit the side here. So I went with pretty much the exact size. So hopefully it all works okay. Well, I gotta say, that actually went super easy lining up. I did make a mark on the front of this too when I took this apart, so that way when I did all the turning of the wheels, made sure this is always in the front and not 180 degrees around, so that way you don't end up having the steering go short on one side. It's a very simple, quick thing to do. Maybe you need it, maybe you don't. I think just to have a reference is a good idea. So if you're wondering what that is, it's a white arrow. Okay, let me go ahead and grab another wrench, tighten these puppies up. Okay, I thought I had another 1.8" opening, but I guess I don't. Yeah, that felt good. I do want to see if I have one thing. Hang on. Okay, and what I was looking for I don't have, so I'm just going to leave that alone. Alright, definitely hearing a little grumbling in the background, and you can feel the air changing a little bit. So, if all goes well, I'll get this thing jacked up and bolted in before anything starts. Alright, see how well this pallet jack works. So close. That's as high as she'll go, huh? Huh. Alright, I'm going to put another board underneath this thing. Add a couple more boards so I can get this thing up the rest of the way. Alright, 2 2x4s should be enough. Alright, let's do it again. Sitting close. Okay, got the 2 rear ones lined up. I was so excited I forgot to hit play. But it lined up pretty good. It lines up good. And I will have to talk about some shims in a minute. once I get this bolted up. Alright, they all lined up good. Guess let me get a ratchet now, and then we're going to talk about the shims I'm talking about. So let me grab a ratchet. Alright, one more. Okay, once this thing's down on its wheels, I'm going to go ahead and tighten those up with the bigger breaker bar just to make sure they're good. Alright, let me strip these towels off this bolster, and I'll tell you about that shim. Okay, and in case you're wondering, this was just temporary because of the fact that I got to take this back out. Now here's shims. These are going to go up into here to take up the distance, front and the rear. See how the rear is tight, the front's got a lot of play. I don't know where this front end is going to sit yet, because once I go ahead and I put that bracket on, put that stay rod on there, this front end might have to come forward, might have to be backwards. Now what I want to do is, what wears these things out really bad in here is if this front end, sorry, I'm a little out of breath, I'm trying to hustle here, might have to move forward and backwards. If you don't take up this distance right here, it puts a lot of stress this way on these front ends. So when you put these on and you shim this where it's supposed to be, it'll keep that from turning and wearing this out prematurely. So that's what these shims are for. Like I said, I can't put these on until I put the back bracket and everything on and figure out where the stay rod is. So that's what these are for, and that's why this has got a hairpin in there temporarily. So let's go ahead and get that bracket on underneath here and see where it's going to be. Alright, hopefully that'll stay in place while I do this. Again, this would be easier if I had somebody help me, but I don't. So hopefully I can get this locked in. Alright, there and there, without dropping it on my head. So I'm only going to put the nuts and bolts on right now. No lock washers yet. That was a little dirty up in there. There's one. This is a little awkward. I think it'd be easier just to do it from up here. All right, let's get the other side started. Alright, so apparently I missed these. I gotta pull those out. I'm not sure why they're in there. I don't feel them catching on anything. But they're in my way, so I gotta pull those down real quick. Alright, they're out. So we're good. Now I can crank that up where it needs to be. Now, what I want to do is, we're gonna go ahead and put this cap on. And as you see, if it'll focus, the front end has to go that way. So that's why I went ahead and I took the pressure off of it. So now it's just hanging free. Now I should be able to go ahead and push it forward and then get this thing lined up. So in theory, it should go pretty good. So let's find out. I guess it'll help if I take the tape out of this. Now we're ready to go. Yeah, not pushing it that easy, so let me give that thing a little pull. Definitely easier said than done. Let me see if I can jack it up a little bit. Alright, see if that'll work. There we go. That's better. Much better. Much better. Let me pull it forward a little bit more. See how close we are. Alright, much better. That's lined up. So it looks like the majority of the shims are going to go towards the back. Definitely didn't take long for the humidity to come back, that's for sure. Alright, that one's got it. know this lines up and goes in there because I've already had it in there. Oh, you know what? Just gotta come back a little bit. That's what's holding it up. So that goes there and there. Yeah, it's just a little twisted around. Alright, let me get on the other side. Okay, make sure you can see it. Yes, you can see it. Got it lined up. So I'm going to snug these up, but I'm not going to crank them tight yet. Actually, not. Actually, I can tighten this up because I got the main bracket still loose. Alright, looks like everything's actually fairly straight from what I can see. So I should be safe to go ahead and crank this bracket up now. And that's going to show me exactly where that's laying at. And of course it's starting to drizzle. Just when I'm about ready to wrap it up. And I got to grab another 3/4. Alright, unfortunately the rain is starting. So I'm going to have to put this on pause for a minute until the rain stops. Alright, so I had to run between raindrops, get those shims in there. The front end now is real nice. Look at this. Goes up and down perfectly. It has no front to back slop at all. So I say success. Well, the 450 diesel now has a factory wide front. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, but those wide fronts, they don't turn very well, yada, yada, yada. Again, I'm not running this between rows, so I'm not worried about the turning radius. I just wanted a wide front. And again, the bucket isn't going to hold a crap ton of weight. I'm not picking up any, rolls of straw or hay or anything, so it's not going to be a ton of stress on this tractor. So this wide front will do this tractor just fine. Alright, I guess I'll pick this video up. Once my bearings show up, we'll get the wheels on her and get her dropped down. So I guess for tonight, that's going to be it. And again, what's going to be a few days for me, it's going to be instantaneous for you guys. So I'll be back once the parts come in. Alright, see? You guys didn't have to wait that long, huh? New bearings are here, so I can finally install these. I did stick the front wheels on temporarily, just with all the rain and all the wind we had. I didn't want anything goofy to happen with the tractor with being up on blocks. Not that I really thought it would, but better be safe than sorry. But anyway, I'll spin this around, kind of get a rough look what it looks like with the tires on here, and then yeah, just go ahead and pack this thing, pack the bearings with grease. And I don't have the thrust washer, the real thick one that comes with these front ends that help take the distance up from the bearing to the castle nut. So I went ahead and just for now, because they were cheap, I got some 7/8 washers. I'll put a couple on there to give me the distance I need. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute. I did chase out the threads on the axle shafts. Just use a thread chaser. Worked really good. Got those threads back up to where they should be. And other than that, yeah, let's go ahead and start packing these bearings. So that's how it looks for now, with the wheels sitting on there. Definitely looks different. Looks good, I like it. You know, I really thought that the shine wasn't really going to match up too well after putting that hardener in here. But this is just dirty. Once I wash this and clean that back up, I think that'll actually match up pretty good. Can't really tell the difference there. But I did pull the nose cone back off, pulled all the parts off. I do actually have the sheet metal sitting in a little circle here. And I got the hood straight, both sides. I got the grill straight. The center console was good. I already did the nose cone and side panels before. I did have to rebuild and remake the exhaust hole because this exhaust hole was chopped out all the way up to about here. And then all through here it was eaten up, and through here this whole entire thing was in extremely bad condition. So I rebuilt the hole, welded in what I could. I didn't want to do too much because I don't want to put too much heat transfer and have it warp everything. But it's to the point where I can finish that off now easy with a little bit of Bondo just to help straighten it out. But for the most part I got these all really good. And yes, I have the elusive fenders that everybody keeps reminding me about on that 450 gasser. Here's those fenders I said I had in the box. I just haven't had time to paint them. But these are going to go on the gasser. And all the other parts here are going on to the diesel. Like I said, the grill, I got the grill actually really freaking straight. Scarily, it actually might have came out just a tad bit straighter than the one on the gas one. A lot of hammering, a lot of work on it. Pretty much got everything back up to par and ran a straight edge and everything's back straight again. But anyway, so yeah, let's go ahead and get the stuff together. Let's get these wheel bearings done because this whole thing is going to be another video. And then, man, we're getting close. Once I get the sheet metal done, now at the front end of one, now it'll be just getting that loader down here and taking it apart, fixing anything that's broken on it, any cracks, anything, whatever, replace the lines. I think I'm going to have to repack the front cylinder. I think the guy told me it leaked. I don't know how bad it leaks, but I don't know. I might go ahead and run it, see what it does when I first start it. If it seems like it's leaking down too much, I guess we'll pop it off and do a video of repacking it. But anyway, so yeah, let's get to it. You know, I guess I should have mentioned the thread size in case anybody wants to know. So anyway, it's a 7/8 by 14. You can see that. There we go. So that's the size you want to chase these out. And like I said, it's just very simple. Just put it on there, fit it on with a wrench, chase your threads clean. Because sometimes around here will get boogered up. Sometimes where the cotter pin goes, that'll get boogered up. So instead of stripping out your brand new castle nuts, go ahead and just chase those out. Alright, so now I'm going to use my bearing packing tool. You can do this two ways. Take a pile of grease, put it on the palm of your hand, smear it in that way, both sides, run the bearing around. You can do it that way. You can get a bearing packer like this. You just drop the bearing in. And yes, I have the pallet jack out here still because I haven't had a chance to put it in the other shed. But anyway, put it in and then just give it a good push down. And you can see it pushes it right through all those bearings. Once you get to that point, just go ahead and smear it all around. Just get it all in there. And of course, run the bearing back and forth a little bit. Easier said than done when you got a handful of grease. Alright, she is all greased up, ready to go on the wheel. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just push this one on. Till that, oh, there you go. Went in pretty good actually. A little better than I thought it was going to go, so. I already packed this one last time, but I'm just going to go ahead and repack it with some fresh real quick. Okay. So, didn't really have to repack it again. Did it last time, but what the hell. Now this, not this front end. The front end that was on here had new bearings to the outside. It just had the old bearings to the inside. The one came off, the one didn't. They're both a little sketchy on the inside. That's why I opted to just go ahead and replace them. But let me get these gloves off. Roll this thing back on. Very nice. Now, like I said, I don't have the thrust washer, so I'm going to have to guess how many of these 7/8 washers are going to go on there. Yeah, I'll say maybe 3. Nope, I'm going to say 2. Yep, looks like 2. Tell you, this gantry's coming in handy for a lot of stuff. So far it comes in handy now for holding my tarp to make an overhead shade. Definitely a big difference when you ain't got that sun beating on your back. Okay, so I want this to go back enough to take out the play. So I'm going to go ahead and spin this on. Okay, no play. Spins nice and free, no drag, and it pretty much lines up right to the cotter hole right there. Alright, 2 washers. Not bad at all. I don't know, might want to go a little more. Might be 3 washers actually. No drag. Bearing's nice. But I'm thinking 3. I didn't think 2 seemed right. I could have just ordered the thrust washers, but I was a little impatient on this one. I ordered bearings. Didn't really pay attention to the thrust washers. I didn't have them. Didn't feel like waiting another week to get those things in the mail. I was already over at Rural King today anyway, getting chicken feed. So figured just grab some washers. Same thing. I was going to buy a couple 7/8 shims, so that way they were thinner, so I'd have a little bit more to work with just in case. But I got window shopping and forgot to grab them. Alright, I'm going to go until, okay, that's about snug. There's a hole. No drag. That's good. Alright, 3 washers. And I should be able to get the cotter right on through. Just like that. Again, no drag. Spins nice and free. Okay, get the cap on. already had my my gaskets made up from last time, and I got them off without tearing them. So luckily I didn't have to make some new ones. You know, question for you guys. If you guys have made it this far in the video without doing a lot of fast forwarding, question I have is, which I think a lot of people usually ask, would you guys prefer me to do videos like I used to do with full-on detail, show every little thing? Sometimes they get to be an hour-long video, which, trust me, it could be longer than that because some of the jobs don't take just an hour. Or would you guys rather me fast forward through a lot of stuff, play a lot of bad music, and speed up the whole process? Leave a comment. Just kind of curious. I know a lot of people don't like to hear all the blah 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 blah. But if you're not fast forwarding a video, you got to hear the blah blah blah. So just curious. Because I don't mind making videos more in depth. I don't mind talking more about them. I just noticed that some of my videos, like the diesel, the injection pump rebuild, stuff like that, I really thought it would have got more views, or the way YouTube actually does it. They actually do it like average duration of people who stay on a video. And it's really sad that when I put on even a 30-minute video, I think the average, I would say, attention span is about 10 or 11 minutes. So, kind of surprising. I usually watch a lot of guys, you know, depending what they're doing, I'll watch their videos all the way through for the most part. I usually don't do a lot of fast forwarding. Unless they're filming the birds, filming worms, filming things they shouldn't be filming. I'll fast forward those. So anyway, leave me a comment, just curious. Alright, so there's one wheel done. Now with me saying that, I guess I'll go ahead and film doing the other wheel the same way. That one I'll speed up. Alright, but before I speed it up, so this is the original bearing. You can see it's got some chips in some of the rollers. It's got a pretty good amount of play in it. Not awful, but stuff like that right there, definitely not good. There's quite a few of them have it in there. And then this one is pretty much smashed and pretty much almost broke out. Oh, there you go, sorry. It almost broke out. So that's the stuff you want to look for on these bearings. If they're bad, they're 20 bucks. Go ahead and just replace them. Alright, let's do it. Alright my friends, and that's that. So I'm going to put this bearing in here just for a backup bearing in case one ever, like say, blows out. At least I have one. There's the part number for the bearings in case you need it. And that's pretty much it. Other than that, I'm going to switch positions. We're going to let this front end down and see how she looks. Tell you, the jack extension I made, that works so good for getting under these tractors. But there she is, back down on all fours. Definitely looks pretty damn good. I like it. Alright, the 450 diesel now has a wide front. Now she's ready for that loader when I finish the sheet metal. But anyway, yeah, she's coming out pretty good. I like it. Alright guys, well that's it for the front end video. Now it's going to be on to the sheet metal finally. So I guess the next video will pick up. I don't know, maybe I'll just do a quick video on doing the body work again, like the Bondo work and sanding and the high build primer and all that good stuff. and then we'll get this thing painted. I'm still kicking around if I want to or not do the clear coat on the sheet metal. I don't know, I'm 50-50. I kind of want to, just that way I know I won't have any kind of, even though this thing's not going to sit in the sun, it's going to be inside of a closed shed. But, I don't know, I'm kicking around the idea if I want to clear coat it or not, so, I don't know, I guess I'll decide that after I get the paint done. But anyway, so that's it for this video. So if you guys liked it, hit that notification bell, like, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts are, what I mentioned in the video when I was doing the first wheel. And if you fast forward it and you missed it, you're going to have to back it up and see what I said. Anyway guys, thanks for watching.